I have several slides here, but I will go through, there we go. I'll go through some of them very quickly. We do have the Q&A session afterwards. But algorithmic intuition started out in, no, still not right. You're getting half of it. We started out building algorithms utilizing AI and machine learning for the elderly healthcare market at home. Once we started doing that, we realized that we needed a hardware platform because we couldn't base it off wrist wearables. So we had to build our own smart Band-Aid. I'm wearing one. My engineer, Alex, is wearing one. They're very small, and we have them here we can show you. So they wear the devices on the core of the body, usually on a dominant side. If the patient has dementia, we usually ask you to put it on the back so they don't have the tendency to remove it. Let me see if we can actually get our slides. Can we get our slides on one screen here? None of the slides are coming up.
Make it smaller. Just,
Yeah, the slides are
it's a different format.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
6 by 9.
Okay.
Yeah, just shrink it.
Yeah, shrink the format there. While we're working that out. So we started, we had to build the smart patches. There we go.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, even if you leave it on the side,
Is that okay to just-
there you
it's still
go.
not gonna sell it,
Oh, that's all right. Even if it's not full screen, it's better than it was.
well, you know what, I know how to fix this. Is there, where's this actual file? You're just looking at the mark of that? I guess I could open it up in preview.
That's fine, Neil. I think this is.
Yeah, I would say just leave that,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Let me
It's
make sure I can
PDF.
change it. Yeah, there we go. No. Do that.
That's what I'm saying. Where's the file on the desktop? Because it's a PDF. so you wanna
She's got it, yeah.
The downloads.
So anyway, as you know, the aging market at home is one of the largest growing markets year over year, as well as it's one market that is untapped by technology. People do the off-body monitoring, such as cameras, microphones, infrared devices in there to pick up the heat signatures of the individuals as they're moving around. But what you're not getting is something that's truly off the body and understanding what's going on with the individual. Well, I guess you got these. That's what it's supposed to look like. But we went after the aging and home market, and our go-to-market strategy is really working through home care providers. They are our distribution arm today. Places like India and Australia are using the devices to go into assisted care facilities where they have limited amount of nurses on staff and a high population, so that they, and as I'll show you here when we get into, oh, that's way better, let's change. There you go.
Better.
Better, yeah.
I'll
So catch up here. No.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, let me try.
Just stay there.
Yeah, I'll just stay here and
So there's a, if you go back one
Go up.
slide, there you go. Now go up, up, up. Here's what a picture of, oh, I can't move. Here's what our solution entails. So an elderly person will be wearing that patch that you see right there. The patches last 3 days. You get 2 in a kit with new adhesive strips. So the adhesive strip has adhesive on the top to hold the patch and adhesive for the body. We've partnered with 3M on the adhesive and tested it so that we know that we are skipping a lot of or avoiding a lot of the skin irritations that you see for elderly wearing this. So they wear it for 3 days in one location. When they put on the new patch, they can move it to a different location as long as it's towards the core of the body. It goes through the gateway that we have that you install and just plug into the wall at home. That information is sent through the internet up to the cloud, where a lot of our machine learning and algorithms run. So we try to train on each individual that is wearing the device for their own individual signature. So step counts on a wrist wearable don't necessarily apply to elderly because they don't take steps really, they shuffle. They may use a walker, they may use a cane. That information is sent down to a dashboard for the home care providers or assisted care facilities can look at all patients on one screen. And then we get $40 a month for the family members. So on their phone, they have an app that pops up and can tell you exactly what they've done. And we have what we call the active matrix, which shows their activities over the last 12 hours. So if something gets out of sequence, such as they may have went to the bathroom more times in one night, or they're not as active, they have a new prescription from their doctor, and now they're less active than they were before, or maybe the new prescription allowed them to be more active than they were before. All of that data is stored in the cloud that we own and is then sent to either the home care providers, facility caretakers, or the family members. So as you can tell, the wellness and activities of daily living is really something that is near and dear to all of us. We've all had elderlies, parents that have lived at home. Also we have fall detection. So as they're going through, we can pick up the ADLs such as washing, toiletry, dressing, eating, walking, lying down, and then the stumbling and falling comes as they've worn it for a while. We can train on that individual's pattern so that you can get predictive now in one's care. This goes through to some of their medical doctors can pull this up and look at the data and understand exactly what the individual's been doing at home. The heart rate, respiratory, and skin temperature, those are three sensors. Our heart rate is ECG. We use an FDA-approved ECG chip that is on the device. It has 3 leads on it. It's manufactured by Maxim Corporation, and they've been involved with thousands and thousands of medical devices for ECG. So here's what the device looks like. Your ECG is the gray colored up there plus the one in the middle. There's your 3 leads for your ECG. The plastic pops off. You get 2, so one is being charged, the other is being worn at all times. And then what we're really trying to do again is the data collection around your ADL monitoring, your heart rate, and your fall detection. The other thing that we have on our fall detection is different than what you see out there for things like Life Alert, is by having these different sensors, our previous company that I built and sold that to the handheld market. We did sensor fusion, so Bill Gates did a very good job of putting sensors on all your phones. The problem was they were all being managed independently. So my last company, we did sensor fusion. We tied all that together so it was a single IC that came through. It saved battery and gave them more accurate readings. So now we're taking that same concept and applying it here to the medical market, to where you take all of the sensors that we have there, your ECG, your temperature, your accelerometers, and when you tie that into fall detection, is what happens is you can avoid a lot of your false positives that you see through Life Alert and other devices. Because if you fall, either your heart rate went down prior to falling, that's what caused the fall, or you stumbled and fell, and when you hit the ground, typically your temperature is going to go up and your heart rate is going to increase. So by combining that data together, when you get an alarm on your phone stating that this individual fell at this time, you can rest assured 99% of the time that it's accurate, where Life Alert is in the 70s, if even that. Here's an example of what the dashboard looks like for some of our care providers. They can customize this, and then you can go in and set alarm thresholds for each one. So in other words, if the temperature has gone up 1 degree or 1.5 degrees, you may want to change the color on your dashboard to say, hey, there's an issue here. Maybe they're starting to get an infection, as well as fall detection, their normal activities, hey, they're sleeping more or they're more active. All of that can be put into the dashboard and recorded. The picture there on the phone is what the family members receive. You have the top right one there. That's the first screen that pops up. It'll tell you what their current activity is or how many steps they've taken today, what their heart rate is, all of that. And then the wheel down here is the last 12 hours of their activity. So you can get a review of what they've done over the last 12 hours. Our hardware comes in a kit. You get 2 of the patches, 16 adhesive strips, and a gateway. The home care providers pay $259 for that. Also, the Gen 3 that we have coming out now is much smaller. It's all rubber-based and based on flex technology from the manufacturing standpoint. So it's very comfortable to wear, and everything is waterproof. We want them to wear it when they take a bath or a shower, because that's where most accidents happen. We are in product trials with the home care providers. We've picked Sarasota, Florida, which is the largest county for elderly people in the U.S. They are asking for more units and more units on a daily basis. We also have Connecticut, Chicago, Iowa, Texas, and 2 here in California. So those are some of them. So by providing a 7x24-hour coverage for the ADLs, or for the aging at home is the market name for it, we are able to give the loved ones the care they need, the visibility by the family members without all the stress of, geez, there's a lot of traffic and I have to get by and see what mom or dad are doing today. They can look on their phone and see exactly what's going on. The only complaint we ever had is from one lady actually in Texas said, my daughter used to come by every day and now she doesn't. So I don't like that. We found that very good. Here is some of the other technologies that you'll see out there. You have the necklace or life alert, you have the camera microphones, you have wrist bearing or your wrist watches. The biggest problem with wristwatches, like Apple and everybody are doing, is you usually wear that on your non-dominant arm. And so when you're trying to monitor ADLs, things like eating, drinking, all of that, you're not moving your non-dominant hand. You're usually resting it and taking a drink, and they don't have the ability to pick that up. So when you want to really track ADLs and what the individuals are doing, you need to be on the core of the body, because there are signals and signatures of those signals coming off the core that are there all the time and that they make a move. Our business model, again, has been working with your home care providers around the U.S. We have some of the larger franchises like HCA, Right at Home, that are in all states. HCA is in Australia, Puerto Rico, Canada, and every state in the U.S., as well as we work a lot with the smaller private home care providers that have 200 clients, but in a very focused region. The other will be the home care assisted living centers. If they gather enough data, they can go out and now ask for liability decreases on their insurance, the premiums on their insurance for liability, because now they can offer 7x24-hour monitoring of the individuals in a home care. Yes. Oh, time. All right. I think that pretty much takes care of it. So anyway, any questions? Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a great product. I was wondering, have you been speaking to any of the payers? So like Medicare Advantage plans, they all want to decrease hospital readmissions, and I'm sure you've been looking at this, but capitated systems that are getting paid a certain member per month, they want to decrease hospital readmissions, knowing any kind of leading indicators of that is, you'll be able to provide that, so you would integrate into their workflows of their care managers, tell them that this person has stopped walking recently as much as normally, there's some massive change in behavior, you should send a nurse there.
I swear I didn't ask him to ask that question. But the other go-to-market is, I was supposed to be on the East Coast today meeting with 4 hospitals, but that's what they want to do, is push this through post-surgical for the elderly. So when they discharge them after surgery, the readmittance fees are huge, and unfortunately they're numerous. So having a device like this, Medicare would go ahead and start paying
Yeah.
for. So we have to start those trials. We weren't going to go after the hospital markets until later next year, but it's become so predominant of them asking for it that we have to do something now.
Well, there's the hospital market and there's the actual payer market, which is all these Medicare Advantage and
Exactly.
Medicaid plans.
Yep.
Is
Yep.
that what you mean? Or
Yes.
you mean hospitals?
Well, we work with the hospitals, but we're going directly into
Yeah, I
the
think
insurance
that
companies
market
as well.
would be much, much bigger than the.
Oh, it is.
Going
Yes.
directly to the.
Yes.
elder care.
But we have to go through so many steps that if I waited to collect revenue until I got that, it would be the end of next year. And by that time, I'll have thousands of units out there collecting data.
Yeah.
So yes, we are working on it, but that wasn't our first step.
Makes
Yes.
sense.
Go ahead.
Your last slide was your ask. We didn't get to see that. Could you back up
Oh,
the slide?
can I back up? Yeah, I can back up. So right now I have a $2 million convertible note that's open. I've raised almost $1 million on that. So there's another $1 million available on the convertible note. It expires September of next year. At that time, when it converts, everybody that's in the convertible note gets a 20% discount onto the price round. Yes.
Thank you for the talk. There are a couple points that you probably touched on that I'm just interested in. One of them has to do with the heart rate analysis, and I can see how the patch can capture a heart rate. It can probably function like an electrocardiogram lead that you can stick anywhere on the body and measuring the electrical signal, and that is enough to detect the rate. I wonder how you deal with patients that have pacemakers in and where their parts of their heart don't talk to each other, which is pretty common in older patients. That's my first question. My second question was about how you measured ADLs. You talked about the patch. I wonder what biologic data the patch captures to reach conclusions about ADLs. Is it muscle contractions that's measuring to tell that somebody is performing certain functions that it's attached to?
Okay, so I'll answer the second one first.
Yes.
So we have worked by putting this on hundreds of elderly people in a supervised manner. So as we asked them to wear it for so long, and they had to complete certain functions, walking, sitting, eating, dressing, whatever, in a supervised manner. So we would capture those signals.
What are those signals?
They're all the signals off of the body. Alex, do you want to go into that
Yeah,
more?
it's, pretty much accelerometer movements. So the patch is on the core, right?
Yeah.
Imagine compare on the hand on the core.
So does it measure it based on the muscle?
Movement.
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 Just on movements?
Yeah, yeah,
Got it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just a
Yeah, based on-
kilometer on the core, but you can detect the movement of a limb on the core
Yeah.
by an accelerometer.
Yeah.
So
So
if
the
somebody,
skin is moving a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
so if somebody has a movement disorder like Parkinson's,
Mhm.
where where their brain and ADLs don't necessarily speak, are you relying on the muscle contraction to reach
muscle.
this conclusion? The muscle.
The muscle,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So the muscle moving under the skin is what does it, or you get EMG signal from the muscle?
No, muscle moving under the skin. No, you
No, not EMG,
Okay, so there's huge potential for error if somebody has muscle
but they're
disorder.
training it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so anybody that doesn't move consistently, it would not be very trainable for them.
I'm just about out of time, but I'll answer your other
Absolutely.
question. But go ahead, yes.
Have you considered non-intrusive ways to find a person's well-being? Like many other things can be vision-enabled AI
Mhm.
completed. I mean, our camera can tell, powered by the AI,
Mhm.
can tell the person has fallen or eating
Sure.
or doing regular things.
Yep,
And they are totally non-intrusive, no patches on the body.
Right.
Human beings are, they forget.
right,
If it's not connected, as you said, dominant hand
Right.
is not bearing the
Sure.
the watch, so doesn't get the signal.
agree.
So, but with AI, with the help of AI, a lot of things can be done at very low cost.
Okay, last question.
Yeah,
Go ahead, what's the
yeah,
question?
yeah.
Have you considered this thing?
Yes, so if you look in a chair in front of you, you'll see a very small device like this that goes along with the patch. The one thing that your other off-body, we call them the off-body monitoring of the elderly. The one thing that they can't do is allow them to be mobile and still track them. So if you look there, we have a new,
really?
that-
Oh,
so that goes with the patch. So now they can go to the store, they can get an outreach, they can do whatever and be mobile
Or the
and
bathroom.
still being tracked.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
yes.
Excellent.
So that's the biggest differentiation.
And Nas had another
Okay.
question, second part for the question.
Your first question was what again?
So the first question was about false positivity with
Yep.
fall alarm.
Yep.
So you talked about bradycardia and tachycardia, meaning when the heart rate is low and when the heart rate is
Is it
high.
high? Yep.
And how you your patch can analyze that.
Yep.
What if the patient has a pacemaker, like a lot of elderly patients?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was around heart arrhythmia and pacemakers,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So right now we are doing trials with, we have medical doctors on our board. So the company is called MD Squared. They're a private company that are physicians, concierge service, if you will. And they are putting it on people that have heart arrhythmia and a pacemaker so that we can, heart arrhythmia we know we're okay with. The pacemaker, we haven't done trials, but he's going to supervise the trials on the pacemaker. We only put out 0.08 milliamps, or milliamps off the patch. So if you look at it, a 70 milliamp battery lasts 3 days. There's not much power coming off of this. So we don't think that the pacemaker, he says there's no way it'll affect a pacemaker, but we haven't put it on a pacemaker patient yet.
But one-
Just being honest.
Yeah, one thing I'll throw out there is most of the patients you're talking about is elderly, and they all, you cannot rely on their heart rate. They got autonomic neuropathies. You cannot rely on their heart rate that they're standing or lying and the heart rate will change. I see that over and over again.
Okay.
So just monitoring the heart and saying they're now standing and lying, you get fooled. all
Oh,
the
no,
time.
we use the accelerometer for that. Any change of the body,
Yeah.
that's all done through the
What's
accelerometer.
accelerometer data?
We understand that we don't use the heart rate to control ADLs. The only thing we're using heart rate for is to tie into fall and to give you a reading on what the heart rate is. But we're not making any of your ADL decisions based on heart
Have you
rate.
thought of blood pressure being more specific?